Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Welcome again to Street Talk. My name is Ahmad Shakaraki. And on Street Talk, we deal with political, social, and economics here in Michigan, across the U.S., and also overseas. A lot of things going on over there, wars and all of these things, so we deal with all of that. And joining me tonight,
Dennis Burnside.
I really don't know what we want to start at. So many things, but I just want to mention Trump wants to go back to the Washington Redskins. Well, I mean, why?
Because he's unabashed racist. That's why. It doesn't matter to him that the Native Americans say that it's an offensive name, that it's a slur, that it's an insult, and that most of minority people concur. They understand. He doesn't care about that any more than he would care about renaming bases back to Confederate traitors and losers. Yeah. You know, like Bedford Forrest in Tennessee, who was infamous for slaughtering Union troops, black Union troops, after they surrendered in battle. He would order his men just to summarily execute them. Yeah. That's the kind of person that Trump says ought to be honored with statues and recognition, even though they violated their vow to the Constitution. They raised up arms against the Union. They lost. Yeah. And now you have Fort Bragg and other places named after these guys, which again is just a testament to how deep and irretractable racism here in the United States is. That you would have people willing to go to their grave fighting for someone like that, or people like that, while at the same time proclaiming their love for the Constitution in the United States. They have a very warped and a very distorted view of what the Constitution actually says. I mean, we can argue about how the Constitution has been applied. Yeah. There's no question about that, that it's been more a form of words than actually a guiding principle. But if you look at the plain words of the Constitution and then see what these guys that represented the Confederacy did and said, and the reason why, let's not get it twisted. It wasn't because of states' rights. They said themselves in their own declaration, Alabama did, Virginia did, South Carolina did, Mississippi did, Florida did. Unanimously, they said, we're doing this to preserve our right to enslave Africans. Yes. So, this lost cause narrative that took place in the early 20th century to try to sanitize the rationale and the motivation for the Southern Confederates doesn't fly with people who know their history. And so to see a guy like Trump who tries to sanitize his crimes, like January 6th, it was a beautiful day of love, who tries to justify his defeats, like when he lost in 20, it was rigged, they cheated me, who tries to justify trying to take down the U.S. government with an insurrection. And was allowed to for all practical purposes. You had Merrick Garland not raise a finger for 2 years. So, that's reflective of his native and deep hatred for people who are melanated. That's just the way Donald Trump is, and he comes from a family of that.
Yeah.
And his base likes that. I mean, with all of the rigmarole that's been in place for the last couple of weeks with respect to new evidence of Trump's involvement with Epstein and child rape.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
His polling among Republican voters
It went up.
Well, it hasn't gone up. It's holding right around 89%. And you're seeing that when you ask them about individual actions of Trump, you know what he's doing with immigration and the brutality and the lack of due process and the violation of law, they say they're against it. When you talk to them about the Epstein case, they say they're against that.
Yeah.
But then they turn back around and support the man who's doing this, giving him impunity to do whatever he wants to. It shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone that someone like Trump is so popular among Republican voters.
Yeah.
And you have to conclude is because he represents who they really are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is that yesterday I was watching a program. I forget the guy's name. He on every Sunday evening though. But anyway, he was talking about the states, the red states and the blue states, and he was saying that people in those states don't agree with him, but they overwhelm. So I might well vote Republican.
Well, until it's their Medicaid being cut off, as the price of food, which was supposed to be so fundamental to the election, keeps going up. The price of fuel, the interest rates on mortgage, Trump's extra constitutional efforts to fire the Fed chair, Powell, because Trump wants him to lower interest rates down to 1%.
Yeah.
Damn the inflation that's going to result. The prices that you said you're going to hold down. So the guy's lawless, man. He has no guiding principle at all other than to stuff his pockets with money.
Yeah.
And get as much attention as he can. He's not really an ideologue. He likes the tax cuts because they make the rich benefactors continue to send him more money and give him more leverage. But past that, traditional Republican principles, which are supposed to be rule of law, family values, fiscal discipline. They just blow that all out of the water.
And
they just have no credibility whatsoever. Yet people stay with them, and you have to ask, why do they stay with them? And the one thing that they do seem to rally around is this fear of a non-melanated majority becoming a minority, and the electoral outcome with that. I mean, right now, man, if you had, but for gerrymandering and voter suppression, you'd already have states like North Carolina, which is purplish. States like Georgia, state like Texas, they'd be overwhelmingly Democratic if you just looked at the numbers. But they gerrymander, they suppress, they cheat, they lie, and they walk around, they beat their chest like they did something.
And even Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Because a while ago, Florida was, Democratic,
Of course.
And now,
they
saying now, but so what would you say some of the answers?
Well, there's been some talk, among some aggressive Democrats that I agree with. If they want to play those games, we need to play those games too.
Yeah.
Let's gerrymander the hell out of California.
Yeah.
Increase the number of seats there exponentially, because if it doesn't matter to the Republicans that They must stand on principle. Why should we?
Yeah.
Let's gerrymander Michigan so that we make sure that all these games they play to suppress votes and flip votes is eliminated.
Yeah.
Let's do the same thing in Illinois. Let's do those things in New York. Let's fight fire with fire. And I understand the moral argument that you'll hear from some Democratic leaders. We don't want to become what our enemies are. But you know, on the other hand, you want to become an antique, out of power, permanently wing of the government. Is that what you want? Because that's where it's heading right now.
They are saying right now the Democratic Party is the lowest it's ever been
in terms of popularity.
Yeah,
because people look at candidates like Mamdani in New York City, Bernie Sanders, AOC,
woman in Texas.
Jasmine Crockett. They see them as fighters.
Yeah.
And not only are they fighters, they're courageous, and they stand up and they fight back and they stand on some type of morality vis-a-vis Gaza, vis-a-vis Ukraine, and also vis-a-vis voting rights and economic opportunity. And they talk about the importance of making housing and transportation and food affordable, making health care affordable, mom and pop tabletop type of issues that they stand on, which are nothing more than Keynesian economic FDR type politics. What made the Democrats own the House until the 90s. I'm sorry, until the 80s, until Reagan came along. Though that type of platform, that type of ideological loyalty is what Democratic voters want. But instead of that, you get this both sidesism. You get this, well, we want to play nice in the sandboxism. And then you pull back the curtain and you find out that many of these Democratic leaders are taking hundreds and thousands and in some cases millions of dollars from Israel, from AIPAC. Which is essentially buying their vote and their support for what's going on in Gaza. Meanwhile, young people, and some people not so young, are turning on TikTok and seeing an absolute slaughter, an absolute genocide in Gaza. And they want to do something about it. And their so-called moral, progressive, liberal, democratic Congress people and senators saying there's nothing to see there. Let's send more money to Israel. I stand with Israel. You know, you stand with your pocketbook, man. That's what you do. And you also stand with your fear because you're afraid of being primaried, and you're afraid of even worse than that if you don't kowtow. But that's the reason why Democrats are unpopular. It's not because people want to see the Republicans succeed. They hate what the Republicans do. But they don't like mealy-mouthed, milquetoast weaklings who are obviously bought off representing them.
And other thing is that they can see it. They can, other than these people you named, all the rest of them, this. I watched this station and that station on PBS and just a little bit watch the news in the evening time. But when you've got all these different things going on, and they'll show a Democrat saying about 3 words, it's like, where are they? And all these things they can be doing and could be saying, ain't got nobody saying anything, Holly.
Well, except for very few. If you look at the leadership, Jeffries, who comes from a strong family, and is a very intelligent, strong man himself, yet he does not seem to want to pick up the mantle and lead. He's actually afraid to endorse Mamdani in New York City. He's actually one of those politicians who is afraid to endorse a very strong, very exciting, very electrifying candidate who took New York City by storm. He went from unknown to winning the primary in a matter of a few months, simply because the man is a Muslim, and simply because the man is being accused, just based on his race, of somehow being anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
They say, oh, he's talking about we need to have intifada against Israel. He never said that.
No.
He was asked what he thought about an intifada, and he carefully reminded the questioner what the definition of intifada is. It's not an effort to eliminate your enemy through genocide or carry on some type of offensive war against them that's unprovoked.
Right.
It's simply a shaking up of the status quo, a change, throwing off of a repressor, throwing off an irritant. That's what it means.
Yeah.
And he said, in the spirit of that, I think that's how I would see an intifada. But that was only after he asked. Other than that, he ran on literally grocery store prices.
Yeah.
He reminded people of a model that had been tried before, where you have city subsidized or city-owned grocery stores to help level the playing field with respect to price and keep people honest. Because, I mean, most of what you've seen with inflation since the pandemic initially was because of clogged pipelines coming into the country. But ever since then, it's just been price gouging. One guy raises his, and he raises his, and then he raises his, and then she raises hers, and they keep going, trying to see where they can where it can finally stop. And meanwhile, the families are suffering. So he ran on that. But Jeffries can't get behind him and say, that's my guy. That's disappointing.
What was it, 2 days ago? 2 days ago, they were saying that why Jeffries he's not having and do anything, and it's just, and I really thought when he got to be the Speaker for the House, I really thought he was going to do something. That's what I thought.
Well, he's not in power. He's a minority leader, and they simply don't have the votes. And they vote in the right way. They vote unanimously most of the time, in the way that their constituents would have them. But it's beyond the votes. It's beyond the form where you know that you can vote on a particular issue, lose that vote, turn to your constituency and said, I tried, but in the meantime not say anything that might offend someone who's putting money in your pocket. And that seems to be the bright line that they're walking. And that's the reason why you can see someone like Bernie Sanders and AOC and Jasmine Crockett and others who can make their base say, now that's mine. Ossoff, the senator from Georgia, who's another candidate who's strong enough and brave enough to speak his mind. But they're few and far between, man. I mean, if you look at this vote to strip PBS of $9 billion, you had Republican after Republican speak out against it, say how it was going to devastate their constituency, especially those in rural communities who need that radio, not only for entertainment and education, but for vital services like tornado warnings.
Yeah, all of that.
You can name it. They talked about how immoral it was, how they couldn't support it, and then they turned right around and voted for it.
Yeah.
Same thing they did with the big abomination of a bill.
Yeah.
They said how much it would hurt their constituents to have hospitals and clinics closed down, where they would have to drive a couple hours and to seek medical help if this local facility closed down. And what do you do in the event of a heart attack, a stroke, an accident? Well, too bad, so sad. They voted for it. And then after the vote was counted and the bill passed, many of them Josh Hawley, who's the GOP sprint champ. We saw how fast he can run during January 6th. Turn around and say, "Oh, I'm gonna write legislation to make sure that we have a different outcome here in Missouri." You see several of them trying to negotiate for their little corner of the toilet after they voted to pollute the whole thing. It's enough to make you say that not only do we not have a true democracy, it's been completely compromised with bribes and corruption. It looks like we're moving into a totalitarian state. You've got ICE being given $90 billion. They can't hire people now. In most police forces, you can go to sheriff departments, police forces, even the military. They're all complaining about shortfalls in personnel because they can't find qualified people, people who can pass a drug test, people who can pass a background check. People don't have a police record. They're already having trouble finding that. And now you're telling ICE to go out and hire thousands of more to put on the street. Now we know, even though, well, we don't know, but we strongly suspect that part of the ICE ranks are filled with January 6th convicts who were paroled by Trump or removed from punishment, and are probably now one of the strongest forces walking around in masks, bullying and intimidating and taking away the rights of even U.S. citizens from them with no due process. Imagine what it's going to be like once they start implementing the spending that they're authorized to spend under that big abomination, when they start putting thousands of people on the street in clothes that are plain, with no markers, no badge numbers, no names, masks on their face, plain no wrapper cars. And we're supposed to feel secure because what? Because you found some construction workers who came over here 30 years ago and didn't have proper documentation? And I'm supposed to cheer you on, grabbing them and taking them off the street? And, Ahmad, not to go on this point too long, but that's another thing that just tells me how bereft the GOP is of morality. You'll have GOP voters say, wait a minute, not him. I like that guy. He's my waiter at the Mexican restaurant. Not her. She's Girl Scout leader at my daughter's in my daughter's troop. She's good. She's one of the good ones. Well, you voted for that. And now that you see what's going on, you still say, I object to that tactic, but I still got Trump.
Last week, I know you heard about it. This lady was someplace. She turned and went someplace to get something, and they stopped her and took her away, man. Here she was on her way home, turned and went the other way for something, to a store or something. But anyway, they stopped her. I mean, it's just, man, it makes me so angry, man, that these guys can just walk around and like you were saying, it's a certain percent of them now, some of these racist people now, they were saying, a couple of months ago, 15% now of the people in the military now, these rednecks, man, they go into the military, get out, and go join one of these groups,
Well, they were recruited into the military as white supremacists. A lot of them were in white supremacist organizations in the first place. This all was taking place under the first Trump administration. So, and then you give them training, you give them a gun, and you turn them loose in society. It's not going to have a good outcome, man. It can't have a good outcome the way things are going. And you have these people, man, who tell you how much they love America. And how much they love that flag. And how much they love that Constitution. And you say to them, wait a minute, man, one of the fundamental tenets of the Constitution is the right to due process.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the right to, you know, as the Magna Carta says, the right to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
If you say I committed a crime and I say I didn't commit a crime, then we need to have a neutral third party, i.e. a court,
Yep.
decide who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah.
I bring my representative, you bring your representative, we go into court, we chop it up, we have a jury of our peers, and they decide.
Yeah.
That's the way it's designed.
Yeah.
And that's what's supposed to have been the reason why we went to war all over the world for decades, is to give these people democracy like we have here, right?
Yeah.
And now we have a government that says to its citizens, if I decide
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you committed a crime,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if I have any evidence or not. All I got to do is say that you did it, and I can snatch you up, and I can put you in a concentration camp in Florida, in Louisiana, someplace with moldy food, and lights on 24 hours a day, and music blaring, and no blankets, and just a horrible situation. The internment camp they built in Florida in the swamp, they actually had people standing in cages. There's no room to sit down. And you have people standing in cages.
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.